When you think about some of the best JDM cars of the 90s, most of us probably think about the NSX or other all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive cars. But from that era, there was one car that was overshadowed. This car right here, the Integra Type R. Now, we've already featured Integra on Bumper to Bumper, and it is a really cool car for very different reasons. This one right here is totally unmodified. It's as it was when it rolled off the showroom floor. A low mile example of a car similar to this one just sold for over $80,000 at auction. And when that happens, people tend to perk up and see what all the hubbub is about. So today, we're gonna talk about why the Type R deserves recognition as one of the greats, and a bunch of features that put its greatness into perspective. We're going iconic round headlights to factory rear chassis bar, bumper to bumper on the Acura Integra Type R. We want to thank Acura for sponsoring this episode of Bumper to Bumper. This car is one of my favorite cars of all time, and it really exemplifies what they are in a brand: performance and luxury. And this thing's got them both. So we thank them for building this car and sponsoring this episode. So the reason this car is so deserving of all the hype and attention is because of this badge right here, Type R. In the late 80s, Japanese automakers were rolling out luxury divisions of their parent company, and the Integra hit the scene all the way back in 1986 as a more luxurious and sport-oriented version of the Civic. The Integra got things like four-wheel disc brakes, tuned suspension, and a more powerful power plant. After a few generations of Integras, an even more performance-focused Taggy was built, the Type R. And the R stood for racing. Acura packed a bunch of race car tech into this Integra, and we're gonna get to some of those Type R goodies in a second, so you just keep your butt in that seat. Now, in terms of being rare, this car takes the cake. This is a 2001 model, the last year of the Type R. Less than 1,200 of the race spec Integras were built that year. In the 4 years it was made, only 3,900 were sold. And that's the reason why this car is so valuable and so important. But the first stop we're gonna make is in the engine bay. Max? Always tricky finding this thing. Oh. Now, when you open the hood on the Type R, you can put the hood rod in one of two positions. You can do your standard position, right here, that's normal. Or if you really want to be tuning and working on this bad boy, it's got an elevated spot right there. With the hood up this way, you can really get on top of the car and work on it without being obstructed by the hood. It's crazy how much easier it would be to work on this car with the hood just lifted maybe 6 inches. Pretty sweet. Now, the main thing Type R did for you was give you some engine treatment. And this car has VTEC. I'm not gonna explain what VTEC is. We've done that here a lot at Donut, but basically what it does is you get two different types of car in one package. Stop and go traffic, Dr. Jekyll, and ripping down the ramp, Mr. Hyde. And this one in particular is the best VTEC version you could ever have gotten. Now, what made the VTEC especially sweet in the Integra Type R was that when it debuted in 1997, Acura pulled 25 more horsepower out of it compared to the Integra GSR. Now, this is a 1.8 liter engine that made 195 horsepower. That's crazy. It's the B18 C5, and at the time, the Type R set the record for the most power per liter out of any naturally aspirated piston engine in the USA. That's 108 horsepower per liter. Just to put that in perspective, the McLaren F1 had 101 horsepower per liter, and the Diablo VT Roadster, my favorite car of all time, had a measly 85 horsepower per liter. Now, compared to the normal B18, this one got a lighter flywheel, the connecting rods were torqued by hand, the intake ports were hand polished. It got lightweight valves and thinner stems for those found in the GSR, which helped this engine rev all the way up to 8,400 RPM redline. Now, this engine has the highest piston speed of any automotive engine in the world, faster than the one found in the company's Formula One and IndyCar power plants. So the reason this car right here is worthy of these high prices people are paying is because, one, it's unmodified, which is crazy. If you had this car back in the day, you tinkered on it. I mean, it was built to be worked on and modified. And two, it's a VIN number matching car. People used to steal the heck out of all these little things. And so Acura put VIN numbers on all different parts of this car. It's got a VIN number on the hood. It's got a VIN number on the panels. It's got a VIN number on the valve cover. It's got a VIN number on the back here. No thieves put their grubby little thieving hands on any of the Type R parts of this car, which is why this is super rare and super valuable. Now the Integra Type R is front wheel drive, which is probably part of the reason why it didn't get as much love as the mid-engine NSX right behind me. But that didn't matter because this was built as a homologation special for racing. Now you see that Type R way over there? That's what this car was homologated for. It's one of the winningest Integras ever in the racing series it participated in. It won 4 manufacturers' championships. It won the majority of races that it entered in. And the engine in that race car is pretty much the same engine that's in this car right now. It even uses the same transmission as this car, which is just wild. It shows you that front-wheel drive doesn't really matter, especially when you have a car that handles as good as this car. And the reason this car handled so well is because it got double wishbone suspension. Now, straight from Honda's experience in Formula One, the Integra uses a rare double wishbone suspension setup in both the front and the rear. Acura basically engineered F1 technology into a street car. That is what made this car so great. Also, the Type R gets the iconic red badge. Ooh, it's red. That means it's cool. It means it's fast. Now let's go to the back end of this bad boy and see what's kicking off in the caboose. Ooh. This thing's got a pretty good amount of space in it considering it's a luxury vehicle. Now this has a trunk chassis bar, which is pretty cool. It's tucked away in the back of the car. Most of the time if you see them, they're over top of the rear wheels or in front of it, but this one allows you to have pretty much all use of the rear. And it does the same thing as what the front strut bar does. It basically just keeps this chassis from flexing as much as it would. And speaking of stiffening up the chassis, this thing is seam welded. And basically all that means is instead of spot welding the panels, they weld all along the panel. And that really keeps the chassis as stiff as you can possibly do it. And that's why that car back over there won a lot. It's got a stiff chassis. Now it's my favorite time of bumper to bumper. I'm gonna throw a GoPro right into my mouth hole, and then we're gonna go into the pit, start this bad boy up. So my sister had an Integra when I was probably 12, and this car smells exactly like that. So it's kind of taking me back to my childhood when I couldn't drive but wanted to. And it's super comfortable. It's surprisingly comfortable because I'm pretty tall. I'm about 6'4". All the controls are nice. It's got little, it's got little buttons on the wheel, left and right. There's no cruise control, which is another feature which made this a Type R. They took out a lot of things to make it more racy. There's no vanity mirror right here. It does have AC. So even though this is the performance version of the Integra, it still has some of the features that you'd like to have in a luxury car. They also added this kind of like faux carbon fiber kind of trim around it. It even says Integra Type R right here on the armrest for your passengers to be able to see. Now there's one thing in particular that makes this Type R stand out, and that's the number of miles it has. Right now, as I'm looking at it, it has 4,537 miles. That's it. That's crazy for a 20-year-old car. It's the purest form of a Type R that you could ever possibly get. And like we said at the top, one of these recently sold for $82,000. And also, what's great is how it sounds when we start it up. Beep, beep. VTEC kicked in, yo. Now the Integra Type R is one of my favorite cars. Acura challenged convention with the Integra Type R, and finally people are starting to realize the significance of this fabled Japanese sports car. We want to thank Acura for sponsoring this episode. We really appreciate it. We love showing cars like this, cars that mean a lot. We want to thank the Honda Collection Hall. This is one of the few cars they have in their collection that's actually street worthy. They take it out from time to time and drive it around. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like this video, share it with your friends. We're going to be doing a bunch of new shows coming up, so hit that notification bell and you'll be notified. Follow us on Instagram at Donut Media. Follow me at Jeremiah Burton. And thanks guys. Bye for now.